Oh,
I'm here until the door knocks.
hey, Jordan, we're going to cover this a little bit later, but if you have some time, I know you've been joining. There's an opportunity for you to apply to be on the committee if that's of interest to you. So just mention that offhand.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely take a look.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. So we're still not court yet, but we will give this just another minute here. Okay. Thanks for bearing with us, everybody. Not sure where we're at. We're still not court quite yet, but let's at least get things kicked off. We can kind of start some discussion. First up here today is actually going to be an overview from the developer advocates. So we'll get kicked off with that. Give me just a moment here. There she is. Okay. Just a quick overview, and then I'll pause to let them share. But Developer advocate update. We'll have our chair who just joined, so that does make us court. We'll go over the participation expectations, committee elections, as I mentioned in the very, very beginning. Talk about the Git book and a number of other things here. They're kind of detailed, so we'll get to them as we go. Elaine, you had a question?
No, I just wanted to make sure that I could take over and stuff. Cool.
Okay. Yeah, we're ready to kick off. So
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, so the first thing that we want to do today is something that we did not manage to do last session. So if we could get an update from the developer advocates on their progress and stuff, that would be fantastic.
Manuel, you ready to go?
Yes,
Okay.
So I was muted. Okay, so I have a few things I'd like to share with you concerning the subject. I'll drop in links to some of the docs we have written just to track the past quarter of whatever we're going to do. So that's the first link to the documentation that talks about our intentions for the first 3 months. And this is the schedule that we're going to use to achieve those particular things that we want to do for the first quarter. So when we were joining, we had agreed that there's something that we probably need to tackle, and that is sort of writing a proper guide for how people can join and participate in Cardano and Intersect specifically. That was one of the pointers that we actually aimed out to do. So we chose the first quarter to be like a way of trying to document like a path any new person roaming the internet can just start learning about Cardano, Intersect, and how they can participate to open source. So that was one of our goals that we decided to do. So we have the onboarding developers as one of the main things that we wanted to do in this quarter. And to achieve that, we had a plan. One was, of course, use the working group as a way of probably laying out the foundation, using the people in the work group to just guide them on how they can get to know about Cardano, Intersect, and what we're trying to do as the open source part of Intersect. So we decided to make lessons that will slowly introduce people to Cardano and Intersect and how to of course participate as a community member. So we have a few lessons, a few things that we're going to tackle in the working group. I'm sure you can all read that at your own time. So these are the ways we thought that would be good to just have these specific lessons to talk about these things. And in the process of doing that, we also get to document every step so that ultimately the idea is to have like a fully documented path anyone can just use to onboard. So we don't have the problem of people coming to Discord not knowing how they can start, how they can contribute and all that. So the first quarter is aimed at basically solving that problem. So once we have everything detailed and documented somewhere, we can always refer people to that place. If they're new, this is how to start. These are the things you need to know about Cardano or Intersect, or if you want to contribute, either as an experienced or a new developer, these are the ways. If you're not a developer, this is how you can contribute. So we're trying to document all that process to make sure we have a thing that people can just build on as we go on. So that was one of the things we set out to achieve, and we have started doing actually in the working groups. We already have the first bit, the kickoff and orientation. We already have this documented in the repo, so you guys can of course, I'll just paste this here if you want to dig around. So this is where every aspect of whatever we're trying to do will be documented in a way that is easy to follow, and anyone can just follow through and achieve, of course, onboarding ultimately. The second bit was practical skills. So we're looking to also teach practical things. If you're a developer, you can actually get to know how to, for example, if you're new, how to run the node locally. If you want to dig deeper, if it's smart contracts, if you want to learn how to develop using SDKs in Cardano, that is also part of the plans that we have. And we have a few lessons here that will particularly aim at that. And of course, they will ultimately be documented in the developer advocate. So whatever we are doing is something that will be tracked by anyone just trying to come to Cardano. Then contributor paths, we are going to highlight how people can contribute to Intersect or Cardano at large through Intersect. So we're going to cover also that in the first 3 months, a bit of that. Support and troubleshooting, how to get support from the community members. Of course, we have the developer advocates who are the designated people that you should reach out to if you have any issues. But we sort of want to create like a support group around Intersect or the open source community where people can just reach out. So that is one of the goals that we are also trying to aim to. And then documentation. Yeah, so all of us, the 4 developer advocates, we are actually looking into trying to write documentation for the open source or the core repos that we have. Myself, I have identified a few that I've actually started writing the docs for. So that's one of the things we're going to do also. So we have these 6 things that we're aiming to sort of get into the first 3 months. We feel that they're necessary. And they're lacking actually currently. So we want to just start with the foundations as we should, document every progress so that the cohorts that will come later will get now a foundation to build on top of. So if they want to do full tutorials on everything, they sort of have a foundation people can start from so that we can reach to that level where we can do high level stuff. So we're starting with the foundation, laying the grounds, documenting every single thing, just to make it make sense if anyone is trying to learn, basically. So these are the plans. You can also find them here. Yeah, so we will be documenting each and every bit of this in the developer advocate repo. There's also going to be some videos of the lessons. There are also some ideas that we might want to break this into shorter videos that we can just have on the platforms in case people are not willing to sit around for the full working group videos. We can have just short explainer videos that people can, of course, also follow. So this is just a way to get content out there and make sure that whatever we are doing in the working groups people can just find it even though they don't follow the working group closely. Yeah, so they expect.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh no, I was just I was going to say thank you very much, but if you're still or actually hold on, some people have raised their hands, so I'll sorry to interrupt you for a second, but yeah, so Tex.
Lucas, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to raise 2 quick questions to Emmanuel. Yeah, how much of the previous developer advocates cohort have you reviewed, what they've delivered, the learnings, and so, because I feel like you're starting from zero very much. And the second question or suggestion is make sure how are you planning to make sure you do have people attending these sessions? Because if it's a one-off, it's like a course that you're going to give. What are the steps you're taking to make sure the room is full and that you reach far and wide in Cardano?
Yes, so we have started some, well, around the people we can access. Of course, there's a lot of people around the world, but for us personally, we have a group that we're trying to sort of groom for Cardano onboarding. That's most of them are in Africa. So the previous meeting, we have actually had numbers, we have had talks with people, trying to plan a solid thing for them to just follow along. Where we have one of the advocates talking with a university that would want to get onto this working group thing. So we have a lot of people or organizations we are talking to help them to just let them know what we're trying to do and get them on board. So that's one or two of the ways that we're using as of now. Of course, there is the platforms that we can use just to paste the link and try and write blogs, which I've been doing on the Cardano forum, to just get the info out there that we're doing this and it's recurring and you can join and this is how you can find us. So just creating the awareness. The second question, so it might seem that we are starting from scratch, which is actually but the essence of this is just because there is no like a solid thing you can send someone, this is how you're going to onboard. So that's a gap we are trying to fill. It might seem like we're starting from scratch, but I think it's the best thing to do at this time, since we don't have like a well-designed plan that we can share out to people that this is how, if you're a developer or a non-developer looking to participate in open source, this is where you can sort of start. So this is one of the pointers we're trying to do, just have that already existing. The other developers have a lot of things that they have done. We have full courses on smart contracts. These are the high-level things that, of course, they're important, but we also want to bridge the gap between people who are completely starting from scratch, just have a foundation for them to start with so that they can reach to those high-level things that have already been done with other advocates. So we have communicated with most of them about what they have done. We know what they have done. We've been following whatever they've done, and actually what they have done already, I think, are the things we are going to just build on the next quarters that we are working towards. So we want to get the foundation right before we get to the high-level stuff, so that we have a plan that is fit for beginners, experienced people, and people who just want to know what is going on in the ecosystem. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.
Fantastic, thank you. I also want to, or Tex, do you still have something to say, or is that just like the thing never lowered?
It's timekeeping, and
Yes.
was just going to share that there is an open project board to track the developer advocates along their milestones.
Oh,
and
okay.
I don't believe that it needs defending, but the developer advocates have, yes, in a sense, restarted, but it's due to anyone that may have followed along, a little lack of formal structure to involve the community in those meetings. So a lot of the previous cohorts, they were more so teaching, which is not a bad thing. But we really want to stress that community involvement piece. That's going to have been a mantra given to the new cohort here. And so that's just a little bit more of a basis of the recalibration or start from scratch feeling that you might be getting. But yeah, no, just noting the time, we did end up getting quite a packed agenda, and we're already a third through. So
Yeah. Thank you. I think next time we might have like a little bit more. This is something I'll think about for next time, is that we might want to like allocate like explicit time budgets to people so that they can like prepare like ahead of time, like, you know, but that's nobody's fault, to be clear. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you guys. Yeah, I'm gonna like interject a little bit before we go to the next meeting. I noticed that we have a few people in the meeting today that are not OSC members, in particular Andrew Aitken. I just want to, make sure that before we go on any further, are any of our guests, did any of our guests today like intend on speaking at all, so that we can, help you present faster and, save you some of your time?
Hi, Elaine. I'm relatively new here. I'm more Christian has dragged me into this community, and I get more and more embedded all the time. So I appreciate his efforts here. I'm going to be more of a lurker and learner for a few community meetings. I may comment here and there, and I'm happy to actually maybe work with Emmanuel on what he's doing. I don't know your developer community that deeply, but I've been in and around open source developer communities for over 20 years. So I have a few insights that I'm happy to share.
Thank you very much. Yeah, love you. Appreciate any contributions. Yeah, I wanted to also highlight Jordan and Min. If you guys could. Oh, not all at once.
Yeah, I'm just happy to listen, but just following the plans. So if you guys can, is that on the doc, by the way?
Share the doc.
Yeah, I mean
Which doc?
the public Gitbook or anything that we can follow these materials. Or is
Oh,
it
yes,
like,
yes. Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. Okay. Jordan, anything you wanted to point out? If not, you can just give a thumbs down and we can move on.
No, I'm just following along and being involved in this community. So I'll definitely be interested in potentially becoming a member. But I'm just here to support.
Fantastic. Thanks, everyone. Min, Jordan, Ike, Iken, it's very much appreciated. Okay, so we can move on with to the next topic, which is meeting participation expectations. Yeah, so there was a little bit that, I was, discussing this a little bit with, the OSO folks and, just in general, thinking about this. And we noticed that there was a little bit of, it's an issue that we've identified before, but making proper use of everyone's time and making sure that all committee members are contributing and stuff. So there's a few changes that we wanted to highlight that we're going to be making to the committee that should help, maximize everybody's time, so that, when you set aside time to contribute, you can contribute as much as possible. And that we can make sure that, we're all being very productive and stuff. One of the, I guess I'll start with like the most direct stuff. We're going to be adding a little bit more of dead space between items. There still might not be that much dead space in this meeting because we got a kind of packed agenda. But the idea is to give people more time to speak. So we expect people to volunteer their opinions and on anything that they might, committee members' opinions on anything that they might, be able to help out with. And, you don't have to feel discouraged or like that you'd be talking over anyone. Just, at any time, feel free to raise your hand, and, we'd love to have people's contributions. And to that end, we're also making another small change, which is if I feel like if I as the chair feel like somebody like could be contributing a little bit more, or even if it's not related to their contributions, but just like if they have expertise that might be related to something, I will be a little bit more involved in calling on people and saying if such and such has an opinion on this, getting their input on stuff, just to kind of grease the gears a little bit on getting contributions from people. So it's not super drastic changes, so it should be easy to work along with. Yeah, and then we also have the upcoming thing of monthly reporting. This isn't actually coming from us, but it's coming from the ISC, and for in exchange for stipends and stuff. That will be something that we will have to, all of us, including myself, will have to be doing soon to get our stipends, is writing a monthly summary of, you know, our contributions and stuff. Doesn't have to be super detailed, but, you know, has to cover at least like the topics that we were working on. Okay. On this particular one, I wanted to ask, Tex, Christian, was there anything else that we wanted to cover in this regard before we move on? Okay. Oh, and I guess there's another smaller one that like the OSO like team, like Tex and Christian, are extremely helpful, possibly too helpful, in the sense that they were speaking a lot, and you know, obviously that's all helpful and good, but we want to get the committee members like voting on stuff and a little bit more involved in stuff. So we're gonna have them try to not be like as like you know, how would you say, like forthcoming, or like not, you know, a little bit more reserved during meetings and stuff, so that the committee can discuss stuff a little bit more. Yeah. All right. Yeah, Min.
I'm sorry if to ask if it's related, but I am following the election of the committee. So I just want to ask a question: if is there any distinction between the committee role or a working group participant roles?
Yes. So the committee like membership rules is like they're a very like rigid thing that is determined on election and stuff, and that includes like a stipend and stuff, and it also includes the obligation to contribute. Anybody like can join a working group to contribute and stuff, and you know, there's no requirements of like, you know, launching yourself as like a candidate and like campaigning to get voted on. There's no you know, requirement like there is with being a committee member. We are also like starting a program for unelected like committee contributors, so that, you know, even if you're not like elected as a member, even if you don't want to campaign, if you just want to like show up like to the open source committee and just say like, hey, I'm like an expert on such and such, you know, we want to make that like easier for people and give like an official role and stuff, especially because that might help out with, you know, like in the Discord and stuff. So yeah, I hope, and of course we also have committee members that serve on like working groups and stuff. So they're kind of like two distinct concepts, but they have overlap. Does that clarify your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. All right. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about like this like contribution stuff before we move on? Okay. I'm not going to dwell on it too long because we got to make time. Okay, so next up is another thing that was just brought up by Min, actually, about the committee elections. So we have, you know, we have a deadline of until the 24th, I believe it is, for people to run for election. And currently, there's not a lot of candidates applying for the OSC in particular. I think we have 4 candidates so far. So this is something that we really want to encourage you know, more help with. In particular, there's a request from ISC, which I kind of agree with, of if anybody on the committee knows anybody that would be a good fit to be a committee member on the OSC, if you could write a recommendation to them, you know, just requesting them to run, that would be fantastic, and it would help a ton. Oh, thank you, Jordan Hill. Min Bui, I feel like I if I recall correctly, you also said you're interested in running. You know, we would very much encourage that. And if anybody else, you know, in the committee has any contacts that they want to run, you know, go ahead. Although maybe don't like list everyone like right now, because we're running low on time. So yeah, everyone, please make sure to do that. All right. Next up is, or actually, before we move on to that, Christian, Tex, is there anything else about the elections that you wanted to highlight? In particular, if there's anything on the X spaces?
Apologies, I was grabbing coffee for a second. So I just put out a note in case any of the committee members had not seen it, looking at some focused X spaces for each of the committees next week. Monday, Tuesday, 3 p.m. Wednesday would be 11 a.m. and Thursday, 10 a.m., all in UTC. So if you would be willing to step up and kind of I guess market or share some additional information or be open to conversation on an X space about the open source committee. And there's a time that works for you. Kind of just first come, first serve. Whoever's willing to step up to that. If there's a time that works, let me know. And I can put OSC down. Still waiting on information to come to you from other committees. But if you see an X space going on and you have some time available, don't hesitate to jump in regardless, just in case any off-cycle questions come up. But that's what's going on there. And yes, deadline October 24th, noon, 12 p.m. UTC. That's the deadline to apply. And there's no qualms. I'll just kind of push into the next issue or issues here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you. Oh, you
Yeah.
wanted to talk about this one? I guess it is kind of in your domain.
Whichever. I mean, I just knock it out real quick. It's a matter of if there's, I guess, committee members in agreement, or if somebody is willing to, I guess, raise this as a vote. There's 2 votes to occur here. And let me just double check that we are quorate. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, no, we lost our quorate with Johnny. So I will have to move those to asynchronous. We can skip both of them unless there's any added discussion that's needed for changes to the open source committee Git book. Basically, we've uploaded a lot of new documents recently. And if there's any further questions on the use of Andamia for the maintainer retainer program, we can talk about it, but we can't call for a decision quite yet.
Yeah, thank you. I do think that Tex, if you could, I mean, this is kind of like basic, but Tex, if you could drop a link to the Git book, I believe Min Bui was interested in reading over the Git book. Yeah, okay. And in particular, if people could read around the POSM, the paid open source model, like scoped items on the Git book pages. Oh, it's up above. Okay, so yeah, you guys can all check that out asynchronously and stuff. And I think that should, I don't think we have to cover that anymore because I don't think we can make an actual motion on that in this call right now. So next topic. This one I did want to give a little bit of airtime to talk about, even though we can't make an actual decision yet. I just want to get people's opinions. Andamio for MRP. What does the committee feel about that so far? I can volunteer my own opinion so far, which is I'm very positive. It seems like they have something that works for task management and for the MRP program, and all I would say like all OSC programs in general. Yeah, when we do make that motion eventually, I do plan to vote yes on that. If we could get an opinion from perhaps, let's see, who do we have in here? Arnaud, have you gotten the chance to look at the Andamio demo video?
No, sorry, I've been sick most of the week, so just
Yeah.
slowly recovering. But yeah, it looks very promising. I will make sure to have a look before the end of the week.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry you've been sick. Yeah.
It happens.
Lucas. Yeah, unfortunately. Lucas, have you managed to take a look at that?
Yeah, I expressed my thoughts on Discord. I only reviewed the video that Sebastian, where he summarized a number of use cases and features being used, and it looks quite mature. But speaking as a business analyst, I would ask, where's the requirements document from our side? We need to be concrete before we go ahead and say this is fit for purpose. We need to be able to say, okay, this tool needs to be doing this feature. We have this in that moment, and there are processes that are going to fit, and the tool can cater to all of them. So I'm not sure who's owning that exercise, but that would be important before we actually say, yeah, we'll go ahead with it, at least to identify what functionality gap there is. There may be.
Yeah. I know that Tex has talked a fair bit about the requirements. I guess Tex, of course, is not an open source committee member, but Tex has talked about the requirements for that before. Tex, do you know if we ever ended up ever ended up crystallizing that down? We wrote about questions for the Ondamio team, but did we ever end up writing up a list of requirements?
It's my understanding that the questions were to suffice for the
Okay.
requirements. If there's further need or concern, then there are things that can be demonstrated in a partnership agreement, which is the next course of action as part of that plan. But I would say, as much as we're doing, I wouldn't put that expectation fully on the open source office. If there's something that is a requirement being set forth by the committee, then it's on the committee to provide that.
Yeah. Sounds good. Okay, so I think we can maybe adapt those questions into minimally adapt it a little bit, I guess, into what we're into requirements. Lucas, actually, if you have the time, I think that, with your background and stuff, in like all the accounting, business analyst type stuff, if you could make that, I think that would be very helpful.
Well, I'm not sure where to pick up, to be honest. I just wanted to highlight, for example, we've been going around a bit here on the situation of someone in Intersect needing to do sort of payroll or stipend payments, and then just having to do one-off transactions is not good enough. They wanted to have them batched. It's these kinds of small tick the boxes that should be done, but I'm really not sure how I could help on that, to be honest. In terms of not having the requirements, but I take Texas steer now. So if the next step would be to validate it, let's move on to the next step, which would be in that next meeting, and that's it. Thanks.
Oh, okay, yeah, that sounds good to me. Thank you, guys. Okay. Any other opinions on Damio before we move on? Okay. Cool. So next up we have the AI policy draft. So this was something that we talked about previously during a meeting, and I think Christian brought this up as like an idea, and then we later seconded it, and we had a formal motion in Discord for launching an AI working group, and that motion passed. So here we are. Yeah, this AI working group would pertain to the usage of AI in Cardano open source and stuff, and would have a lot to do with things like avoiding people submitting slop, things like that. I'll be honest, I haven't really fully engaged with that yet. Christian, do you think you could talk a little bit more about this so that we can get the OSC like more engaged on what this working group would consist of?
Yes. So if y'all go to the OSC internal channel, what I'm trying to do right now is, before I draft the charter, I wanted to get what the OSC is concerned with AI. So I put in 10 general topics around governance oversight, licensing and compatibility, security and model integrity, tooling integration, data stewardship, etc., ethical use. So I figure if we start a draft policy, we should probably only cover 3 of those topics, so the working group's not consumed, and then we can do amendums as we go forward. But the whole idea behind this is just to make sure, as it's becoming more proliferant, we at least have guidance on how people utilize it, risks and concerns, and just making sure that it's done appropriately within our workflows. And like one idea is if we have a bunch of security related private repositories and an AI tool is given access to read everything, that's a cause for concern because things could be leaked.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
I have engaged the Security Council's point of view on that too, just so we have some draft. But
Yeah.
the call to actions just to have OSC review those topics and nominate 3 that pique interest.
Yeah. So if we could have everybody in the all the committee members like take a look at that, that would be super helpful. In particular, I think I'll throw out a few ideas as food for thought right now. One of the things that I think would be good to establish is that we should probably have a guide. Excuse me. We should probably have a guideline that people do not use. So do not use AI to review PRs exclusively. So I guess I'll contextualize this. There's a lot of cool new stuff that GitHub lets you do, where you can have like an AI act as a peer review on your PRs and stuff before you merge them. We should, that's obviously very, very good to encourage using. And we should probably even recommend that people, use that as an additional line of defense. But at the same time, in order to make sure that the quality of Cardano open source does not decline, we should, probably issue guidance that people should not use that as the only person reviewing a PR. Tex?
Yeah, I apologize. Can I clarify what you were saying? Because I heard do not and then do and then do not. So when you were saying, I guess the peer review thing, is that an AI peer review, or it's a peer review that confirms that there is minimal or no definitive AI?
Yeah, so let me clarify, because I guess like this stuff is a little bit more fresh in my mind. So on GitHub and stuff, when you establish like a PR and before you merge it, usually a lot of repos will have, essentially what Christian said. Like usually repos will have like a requirement for at least one other person who's not you, especially if it's a project with like multiple maintainers, to take a look at that PR and say, like, I have no feedback, or this needs like this change before we can merge it. After all of that, after all of those peer reviews have been completed, it can be merged in. They added a very helpful feature that lets AI like review your PR. But what I'm saying is that we should encourage people to use this feature, but we should explicitly say that people should not use this as the like tie-breaking vote, basically, on whether a PR gets included or not. That it should only be supplementary to like a human decision to include a PR. That way we can avoid, a buildup of a ton of tech debt in the Cardano ecosystem.
I understand I'm not a committee member. I would just, I guess, push my understanding of this. I wouldn't make a big note of that being something that we are okay with. I would let that be kind of a muted column of allowables. I wouldn't prioritize or market that. What we should be prioritizing and marketing is the peer review aspects. So it'd be much better to have, at least in my understanding, let the committee decide this, but for developer peers to be reviewing each other's PRs without being the first thing that we say is, yeah, use the AI to review your PR to make sure that it checks out. They may do that anyway, right? And we can say, hey, that's okay. But I don't want to put that as the front line, but that's, I just think there's more discussion there.
Yeah, we can discuss that more. Yeah, I do want to note before we move on that there are some reasons to encourage people to enable that though. Mainly because it can just transparently like add comments like to stuff that can be helpful for like what Christian said. And we can, I guess I'll just summarize that as there are like reasons to consider it, like explicitly saying it, but there are also many reasons to like not like get overboard. So we'll talk about that more in the future, which is good. But I'm glad to bring up some discussion on this. Does anybody else have any does anybody have any input on anything that we should encourage, discourage with the AI working group? Okay, we can probably move on then. I think I spent a little bit too much time on that, so yes. Next up is the accelerator program. Yeah, what is the current state of the accelerator program? Let me think. We had, I think we have the whole like university thing going on currently that Christian was talking about with M Labs, and then another like corporate entity that was, or maybe it was a person, offering to help us connect with universities in India. Christian, could you talk more about this?
Yep. So what I'm trying to do is get a call to vote that if the OOC is okay with this, we can actually proceed forward with this item. So I shared the doc right there. But essentially what we're doing is, instead of like trying to actually run a VC program, we're doing an educational workshop is what the working group wants to do. Focus specifically on 3 areas, which is commercial open source software business class. That'll be a workshop series done virtually over a month period and do it 2 or 3 times during the year. The same thing would follow on an investor pitch and fundraising workshop, and then one on technical product review and market fit. And the idea is, depending on what availability you have, you could take all 3 of these and get certified that you have the basic training for understanding how to do this. And the idea is to help improve pre-Catalyst submissions and post-Catalyst. And me and Chris Kowalski of the working group met with the Cardano Foundation Venture Hub, and they have a good integration point to this. And we're trying to actually build a map of these opportunities that exist for products building on Cardano, free resources that you have that you can utilize, and try to enhance our viability in the enterprise adoption side of things. So essentially, if that concept's okay with everyone, that's what I wanted to put with a vote, that we're good to fully scope this in detail and start finding vendors to fulfill these and bring it back to the committee that y'all are okay with the provided vendors, essentially.
Yeah. For this particular vote on getting the working group document up, sorry, did you want to vote right now on if we do the whole 100,000 for the program, or is this just like to get like say that like we'll do something with
it's
this
mixing
program?
the two. So the accelerator is the 50K, specifically focused at products building on Cardano. The Cardano Summer of Code is what you're thinking with the university. That one, I'm waiting for those proposals to come back before we put that to a vote. So that one's later on, or I guess after this. But I can provide that update after the vote for the accelerator.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. This is kickoff and orientation.
I guess, Tex, we could put that into a poll if you're okay with it, Elaine.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Oh, sorry, I was just reading over this.
Yeah. To provide context for the Cardano Summer of Code, so we have engaged with M Labs for a proposal to start how we should do this education series. So we do have ideas for how we engage certain geographical areas using them. I think the OSC wanted to expand the scope outside of just Haskell focuses, just to cover more topics. And the other piece is I met with Mahesh with She Sharp Corner, and they, for relatively half the budget, could incorporate up to 20 or 25 universities in India. I asked them to put a proposal together, and then we can do a review at the OSC about how we want to spread the percentage. But the idea is they probably would work with other vendors for that technical knowledge and or use Cardano resources locally. Again, the objective is most bang for buck and making sure we cover topics and return that ROI to the community.
Yeah. Thank you very much. The polls are going live right now. If anybody wants to vote on these. If we don't get enough votes, then we will move it to Discord on any particular item. Jonathan Kelly?
Yeah, just a second. This statement that Haskell was a focus for these workshops, Summer of Code, any other things being the sole focus is something that I would be against, because it might overwhelm people or turn them away at the door because they don't feel like they would be able to get into it as easily as some other higher level languages. Well, it's more simple to engage with languages. Let's not say it's anyway. But yeah, the point is, it would be a better onboarding experience, and I think that would be represented as an opinion by Phil as well. He stated that explicitly before, and if anybody else wants to agree, let me know.
Oh yeah, sorry. Sebastian posted this earlier. But TX3. What is that actually? I'm not sure what that is. Could you explain that, Sebastian?
Yeah, for sure. It's a no resource from TXPipe, focused specifically for onboarding devs, facilitate understanding of the UTXO model. These people has the experience to explain this in detail, and they know the pain points on how to explain the model and how to based on the software experience they have, they know how to take people, specifically devs, and start them in almost in an easy way in how to develop on top of Cardano. I think I saw the product in action yesterday during the Cardano Summit Brazil, and these people knows what they are doing in this area of onboarding developers. So it's open source, and they are open to not only provide the resource, but also the assistance if the committee and the people and the non-devs need it. Yeah, thanks. That's in summary. There is the documentation. Yeah, you can go deeper into the resource. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. That seems very, very interesting, especially as like a learning tool. I definitely think that the committee should look into that, and I personally will be looking into that as well. Tex?
Just drawing attention to the polls. I was checking. We have 5 votes on one, 4 votes on the other 2. There are 6 committee members here, so if we could get just that full sentiment, I'll check the names after the fact. But.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Christian?
There was one other quick decision to be had. Johnny Kelly, I think you were there. Essentially, the Plutus High Assurance team and some other folks at CDEC engaged myself to try and come up with a plan for how to address smart contract auditing as an issue in the ecosystem. They wanted an official channel to congregate to rather than overload the Plutus working group. They wanted to know if the open source committee would be open to foster them for just the interim until they actually set up their own body to address this challenge. But they need a coordination place. So they just wanted to set up a working group under the OSC for that. And I can link them.
And the vote is to add a channel into the Intersect Discord specifically for this purpose, yeah.
For the purpose of what?
Oh, I'll explain. Smart contract auditing that happens on Cardano doesn't have any kind of standards for different levels, and there's no official sort of look to see what kind of auditing has been done. It's all rather ad hoc at the moment. So there's various people that will say that they've got their auditing, but there's no standard to look to. So this is a group of auditors coming together and in a kind of consortium style to work out what different levels of standards of audit exist and sort of have a reference point. And then people can say this level has been passed, this level hasn't been passed, so that people can get an idea, and then there'd be a breakdown of what what audit level entails.
Okay. Oh yeah, text does mention that it doesn't, that working groups do not normally get a full channel. They get thread and a thread or like our forum channel. So if everybody would be okay with it, we can probably make the vote for the motion on if we can get a thread established. I would like to put forward that motion on the auditing stuff. That seems very valuable. Tex, do you think you could add that to the polls? Oh, yeah. What is the plan for updates? Are potential participants willing to attend?
I'll briefly answer that and go off. But
yeah,
the idea is we already have a team. They're only borrowing this working group until they set up their own similar organization like CDEC. So the goal is they'll come together, put together some charter, and then move outside our remit. So that's all it is.
I'll just apologize for saying channel multiple times when I was wrong in saying that. I've been going into the tooling working group thread, and I only just realized now that it is a thread. I thought it was an actual channel each time I visited. Sorry.
Okay. Oh. Yes, Tex.
Noting that we are right at the end, is there anything else from the community or anybody? Because I've got one last item that did get kind of skipped here, but that's okay.
I don't have anything. Oh wait, Sebastian. Oh, Gimbal Labs Plutus thing as a resource for onboarding developers. Yeah, we can take a look at that. Min Bui?
This is kind of personal questions, but I've noticed that the number of candidates who applied for this committee election has been dropped. I mean, like compared to the prior elections. So, what do you think it's the reason behind that? Or, yep, you know?
Yeah, there's so many things to speculate on that. Unfortunately, excuse me. Unfortunately, this is not the right place for that. We don't know the actual reason, but there have been some internal changes made to look closer at that. So, if not coming out immediately from the elections team, then I would definitely expect some updates or other potential changes when we get to the next election cycle. Again, I appreciate the question. Unfortunately, just not a topic for OSC.
Yeah, it's cool. Thank you. Just wonder, but I think, well, the committee has lots of interesting to be done, and I think I will try to read and try to apply if I can. Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, we can move back to that thing that got skipped over. Text, was that program update preferences?
Correct. So don't if you have something right off the tip of your tongue, then please feel free to share it. If not, then let's take this to Discord. But please share with me the ways that you as committee members would prefer to be updated about program progress, being contracts, budget, the statement of work, anything that's in that area. And then the on the other side there, how should we update on our programs as a committee? This will kind of kickstart how we're going to do our publications as those milestones start coming. So there'll be a difference of, hey, what does a general publication look like that helps you all to understand, and then how do we either specify or redact that for community purpose? So I just want to get those ideas going, and when you all have questions on where we at with this program, I want to know how to best provide that back to you. So
Thank you. Yeah, that's definitely something we should all provide feedback on, I think. It's very helpful for all of us. And especially if you're a little bit time limited, or like, you know, like you need to make like it easier to work on this stuff. Definitely please, you know, pay extra attention to giving that feedback. Yeah, thank you very much. So we are at time. I am going to go over all of the, I'm going to quickly like summarize all of the tasks that we went over, or I'll just like repeat them so that the AI transcriber manages to get everything. So developer advocate update, we already did that. Meeting participation expectations, we did the committee elections and, you know, current status of that. We did not manage to talk much about the OSC Git book because we didn't have enough members. We covered Andamio for MRP. We just gave some opinions on that to, you know, move that along a little bit. We'll be voting on that, or well, we did manage to start a vote for that. We'll discuss the outcomes in a bit. We talked a little bit more about the AI policy draft for the working group. We covered the accelerator program updates and changes. We covered the Google, or not Google, like the Summer of Code program that we're looking at establishing, and like the potential contractors for that, or vendors, I mean. You know, we covered that thing that Tex just talked about like how we actually want to get updates on programs from the OSO like team, and just in general about like the status of budget line items. And then we talked about like a potential new smart contract auditing working group. In terms of outcomes on the polls, Tex, do you have access to those?
I do, but we're still pending votes.
Okay. Anybody who who hasn't looked at that, could you go and review all of those and like put a vote on anything that you feel comfortable voting on right now?
I just added the last one, which was the smart contract auditing one.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between, the polls are now open. Please cast your votes. Time is running short. Results will be announced after the vote is complete.
And to make sure you know where you are voting, this is in Google Meet. In the 9 dots on the bottom right, you can open the polls tab and add your vote there.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
They moved into the tools section.
Tex, yes.
Yeah. So I have unanimous voting. Yes for Andamio for MRP. Yes for Gitbook documents approval. Yes for the changes to the accelerator program, and yes on the smart contract auditing working. Without further ado, we can close out from here.
Many decisions were made in this meeting.
Thank you, Arnaud. Thanks a ton. Yeah, okay. So it sounds like all 4 motions have passed. Okay.
Yes, it has. All right.
All right. Cool. Thanks, everyone. We can probably end it for now. Oh.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.